Hey guys, it's Baban and I'm back with another video, and not too long ago I decided to redraw my little dragons and get a consistent reference sheet for them that is a turnaround. So I made a little GIF with the sheet, which is here, and this is just a short video of the process that I did for making this. Also, this video and all of the files included in the GIF are something that I posted earlier on the Patreon. So here we go. The first thing that I did for my sheet, I have a few of the sketches here, was to work on this front-facing one so that I have one that is symmetrical, and I used the symmetrical ruler to draw so that it was easier to get those proportions at that angle. And then you can see what I'm doing is bringing that one down to the end and then using that silhouette to fill in the back view. And then I've also gone along and blocked in each of the most important features with these white lines in the back and drawn all the other separate poses. And the reason that I only have so many at the moment is because once I have them turn in one direction, I can flip it and get the other direction, and the only thing on them that isn't symmetrical that I will need to go over and change is the tail, and I also go and change the wings later on because I had them in different poses for each of these different angles to show more of the design. But when I realized that I could make a spinning GIF of this dragon, I decided to make all the wings the same, so I go and change those later and redraw them. They aren't going to stay as they are here, but I'm just trying to do very simple lines on them to block them out, and I will be doing some simple colours on these as well. Now, I draw these occasionally for different events for fun when I have a bit of free time and there's a day that lands on where there's an event of some sort, like St. David's Day. I'll draw a little dragon usually, because those fit. But I wanted to, you can see the one I have as a little Wawa Talk sprite in the corner that I use for my streams. So I wanted to redesign them so that the proportions were more consistent and more appealing. So things that I'm trying to exaggerate in this redesign is getting the head more consistent and the placement of the eyes and the snout to look a little bit less chubby. My dragon in the bottom corner has quite a chubby face that doesn't really fit very well, I don't think. So I kind of wanted to exaggerate that beak on them, and also the shape of the front of the chest where it has that very sharp outwards point and then curve down and around. I used to really like ducks when I was a kid, so I wanted to exaggerate the duckish shape that they have with that bulk in the body and the way that they sit kind of with the curved back, I suppose it almost looks like, where their hands swing a lot further forward than the legs do so that their weight balances with their tail, because I don't want to make them very upright and too humanoid, so I'm trying to bring in more of that difference in the shape so that they still remain more animalistic and dragon-like, hopefully. But that curve on the front of the chest was my main goal with this, and also getting the head to look better, because I really enjoy that curve on, say, ducks and swans. It's very exaggerated on. You can also see it on cats because of the way that their shoulders come forward as well. So I wanted to exaggerate those traits because I think they look really nice for the sort of weight that I put in the way that I draw limbs and things, because I'm tending more towards, especially with chibis, where the extremities will have more of the weight so that you get less bumping of the limbs and sort of clipping of the forms, I guess, higher up on the body, so you get more movement in the top of the arms and the top of the legs because they're skinnier, and then you have more of the weight in the hands and the feet so that you can exaggerate those more. And like I say, I wanted more of that weight sort of in the bottom of the body so that that tail is balanced out with the top. So even though they're chibi-ish, I'm thinking about the weight that they have and the way that they move. I imagine they would waddle a little bit also because, like I say, they are supposed to be quite duckish in the way that they are built. But they look kind of like they could swim in the water and have their little feet paddling underneath like a duck. I suppose they're a little bit Yoshi shaped as well, I used to draw a lot of Yoshis when I was small. Yoshis and ducks, for some reason, was my thing when I was a kid, and cats, but you know what? I mentioned cats as well. They're just a little amalgamation of all the different shapes of those things that I enjoy that seem to work well on a dragon design as well. Oh, I'm also redrawing the hands and doing some edits, look. I think this was the point also where I started to realize that, okay, that tail needs to change on the opposite side of the turnaround. So I'm getting these to where they are about completed, but you can see that that tail is not symmetrical because it curves out one way and around the other in that little swirl that it does. So what I'm gonna have to do when I duplicate these and flip them so that I get the other half of that twist is redraw the tails and also redo those wings because I didn't want them to like flip-flop as it turned around. Okay, so here we go. And I don't think I lined these all up perfectly. I was thinking about redoing where the feet were standing because they're not quite as perfect in the placement as they should be. I think if I did it again, I would block down a ground plane with a circle on and have that circle sort of be where the feet rotate around so that it fit better. But considering I didn't, I think the animation with all the frames compiled turned out pretty nice. The feet don't look too odd. I can notice it a little bit, but it's not so bad as it could have been if I really wasn't paying attention. I did like how these were coming together just with the flats as well. I also found that the first few times I was drawing these, I was trying to make them a little bit more pink because I enjoyed the pink and green color combination, but I wanted to make these more obviously red, and I didn't really want the stark red and white in the different color blocks that I have on them, like down the belly and on the ears, so I made those a bit of a different sort of soft red tone. I was trying to keep it away from getting too flesh colored, I guess, because I thought that would look a little bit strange. And the way I'm going to color them is to just bring in some simple gradients. I didn't really want to go and shade them entirely because I thought that would be too much, and it's more so about the consistency of the line work and the form through that rather than doing anything very heavy with the shading to indicate the form. So I didn't want to spend too much time on it. I was also thinking of more simplified cartoon styles where they do rely on gradients like that for background elements quite a lot. And even in some kind of, you know, flash asset motion animation work, you will see that applied onto the characters as well. I wasn't watching it at the time while I was working on this, but I was aware of it and the stylization that they use with those gradients. But the series for Tangled, I quite enjoy the colors in that and the way that they do the gradients. So I was thinking of things similar to that. This obviously isn't as contrasty as that. This is quite soft and delicate because I didn't want to go too crazy with it. But I was thinking just something soft like that that more so relies on the gradients than any very heavy shading. That said, I do have some sharper edges on it just to kind of block things out, like the edges of the ears and the heavier shadow underneath the neck. So just very simple colors. And there we go, we're done. We have a whole turnaround. I quite like the ocean green that I put in the back of that sheet also. And there is the turnaround GIF, a little bit slower and also a little bit faster. This makes me think of that one video with the spinning sail and the do 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 spinning around. There's no need to be upset. Okay, yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped. I had a lot of fun making this one. Like, share, subscribe. More on the Patreon. Goodbye!